What is up, everyone? This is Faust Kellhound, and this is Faust Talks. Alright, so I'm mostly just going to be talking about how I've been painting up my models. Today is Friday. Friday for me, motherfucker! Yeah! Off on the weekend. But it's not the weekend for me because I have work training tomorrow for like 8 hours of work training. Oh, goodness. That's definitely going to be overtime. Oh, excuse me. Still got my random ass cough that I hate. But yeah. So, I've been painting mostly my Raven Wing for my Dark Angels. So I'm just gonna explain how I do this, everything, literally from the basis, from the beginning. I've been starting painting. I just get the models, put them together, all that different things. And then when I prime them, I just use black spray paint. Just straight up pure black spray paint from like Walmart or Home Depot. Something like that. I try to give it a little bit of a distance just so that when I spray, it dries really quick and it gives quite a smooth finish. So that's what I've been doing. So because the primary color is black because of Raven Wing. Not Raven Guard, Dark Angels Raven Wing, second company. So yeah, they're primarily black and silver. So by me just painting them black is that all I literally have to do is do the details on it. So that's what I've been doing. And with the models is that, yeah, all I do is the detail or the secondary colors. So for most of them, it's just silver. I got from Army Painter, it is called plate metal silver or something like that. Or plate metal steel, something like that. I don't remember the actual color name, but from what people are saying, it is very, very similar to Lead Belcher from Citadel, because it is a silver paint that goes on in like literally a single coat. Like a single coat is if you put it in a little bit thicker than normal, not super thick where it's like one coat will coat it, just like slightly bit thicker than a second thin paint, like the two thin paints, is it goes on in one coating. It is great, and especially as it goes on very thin too, so so it doesn't take out any detail or anything. And it's like, dude, it is such a great paint that it literally one very thin layer will coat it with one coat, and I love that stuff. Sometimes you might need to do like 2 coats, which isn't too bad. So like for a few things that I have to do with the black base is I do have to do 2 coats sometimes on some areas, like areas that I really pull thin from. But yeah, I'm able to, with the bikes, with the Dark Angel bikes, I just do the details, like any iconography that they have, like anything of skulls, any parts of the bike that would be metallic, like the mufflers and the exhaust and the engine block. Yeah, I do that shit silver. Skull iconography, the Terminator, Croots, the Crus Terminatus symbol, I do that silver. The Aquilus that is on the Dark Angels, yeah, their face mask, all the different skulls that are on the Marine themselves, the the little trim that's on the bike that kind of like goes around several different parts of the bike. I do that silver too. Do like the wheel, like the wheel of the tire, I do that. I do that silver also. And then like the muzzle and the magazines of the guns, I do. The screen and the handles, I do silver. So with all that done and all that silver, I I move on from there, and then like any wing typography that's on the model itself, I usually do a base white. I do it base white, and then after I get it like 2 coats of white, just 2 coats of white on like on the wings. Then I go with like a dark blue or a light blue wash and put it on there, so that wash changes it to a blue. But then I do a third layer of white. The white that I use is called crap. It's not Minoff. It is from P3 Privateer Press Paints. So it's their white. It's not Minoff. Minoff white is kind of like brown. I usually do that for the robes for the Dark Angels. But yeah. It's a very, very bright white, like super clean bright white. That's what I use on it. Super clean bright white. So 2 coats of that, then the blue wash, so it can get it. And then I really coat on the blue wash just so that like all the separation between the wings, and it really gets into the crevices of the wings. Yeah, I really like pile that wash on there. It is really thick. And then after that is I get that bright white with a very fine brush, and then go to each one of the wings, like each one of the feathers of the wings, and then do a thick white stripe just at the very, very edge of it, like the feather. Yeah, like the very edge of the feather right before it goes over. And then I leave the back portion of the wrong thing. I leave the back portion of the feather dark, like with the blue wash, so it's not touched by the white paint. So that I have to do every single feather like that, and it gives such a nice effect, dude. It looks really, really good, straight up. It gives that nice, wonderful separation between all the feathers and depth. I really like it, dude. It looks nice. I need to take a video of my Dark Angels or my Raven Wing, what I'm doing with it. It looks really nice. It gives that depth of the feathers and everything like that, because it's metallic feathers. And it shows it's like, yeah, it's a little bit of like grime or shadow there. It looks really nice. I like that quite a lot. Okay. And then after I do that is that I do the wings, like where the wings are, the outside of the wings, I paint that. Like because the feathers and the wings, they have a like a little stand or framing on it. I usually paint that gold, because everything else is silver, but I paint the wings in front of the bike gold, and the wing typography in the back, I paint the frame or the pole silver. So at least gives me the 3 colors that everyone says you need. At least 3 colors. It's like, okay. Then I since they're black Marines, and then they're black armored Marines. And then I also like, for the detail on the Marine, like the rim of the shoulder blades, I usually paint that silver also. And then I make their eyes like crimson red. Crimson or scarlet red, like a very bright red. Is that I first use a flat red on there, and then I go like a very, like, even thinner inside of it is a brighter red. So that's a scarlet red. It's almost like it's like a very rich pink color, but it's like almost pinkish red. So it's a very bright light red. And then, so yeah, I have the flat red as the base for the eye sockets of the helmet. And then and then after I do 1-2 coats of that, is I do a coat of the crimson or the scarlet, and then it gives it a bit more of a like brighter effect. because I do a very thin line inside the red with the crimson, with the bright red. So I get it there, the scarlet, and put it there, and then just like when people look at it, is that is kind of it's not a straight, like a straight line. It's just kind of thin, and then when they look at it, it looks like it's glowing. It gives it a slight little like glow effect, or make it look even brighter than it should be, like there's lights behind it. So I like that. I like how that looks. It looks really cool. Okay, so those are the basic Marines that I have. But for like the sergeants, they usually have the robes on there. The veterans, they have the robes. So the robes is I do everything the exact same as I do for the base Marine. But then with the sergeant, they have the robes. The robes, I paint them mid-off-white. Mid-off-white is kind of like a brownish white, like an off-white with a little bit of purple in it, like a very light purple in it that gives it a unique color, that makes it look brown, that gives it like a older weathered off-white look. Kind of like that look that if you had a book and you left it in a moist climate and in the sun for quite some time, it gives you kind of that brown worn book page look that I really like for the robe. So that's what I put on for the robe. Yeah, I have to do like 2, maybe 3 coats of that. I get that really good. Then I had mid-off-white highlight, which is the same color, just a little bit lighter. That is, I just highlight the robes with that. I get the edge of the robe with it, or any like of the paneling coming up, or like not the paneling, but the pleating of the robe going up, or like any ruffles that go up. I just hit all of that. So I just go around hitting all the different lines like that, just to give a little bit more depth to it. And then afterwards is that I do a very thin layer of Army Painter, a strong tone. The strong tone gives a kind of a reddish, no, not strong tone, but mid-tone shading. It gives it kind of a thin, slightly reddish brown look to it. So I do a very thin coat on all of that. And yeah, as washes, it goes to the center of like the deepest part, so it gives even more of a even more depth. I'm not that great at blending colors, so I just make my colors really look like, my separation of the colors look really like separate. Some guy being a jerk. So I do a nice I'm not that great at blending the colors, so I'd make it like look separate. And plus, a lot of my models, just with how a lot of the colors and separations are, is that they kind of look comic bookish, or not comic bookish, kind of cell shading look. Is that where you like have the shade there, and then it cuts off and goes to the next color, where there's like not blending between the levels of shading. It's like, oh yeah, there's complete black, there's gray, there's light gray, and then there's a color. Like there's no blending between it. So I kind of make my Marines kind of look like that. Is that, I don't know if like what I have to do the blending, but I've kind of gotten this style of making my things look like cell shading whenever I'm doing the shading. And a lot of people like it. They literally say like, dude, this looks like Borderlands, or this looks like Wind Waker. Yeah, people like it, so I just stick with it. That's my style. And then with the sergeant, most of the sergeants, they have a little bit of skin showing. Sometimes they have the hood over their head, or not. Sometimes they have their head completely shown, depending on what you want to do. So with the ones that have their head completely shown, what I do is that I get the Vallejo like flesh tone or whatever that they had. They have a flesh tone, they have a darker flesh tone, and then they have like a leather brown and chocolate brown, stuff like that. Is mostly for my guard, just because the guard's just a whole bunch of different people. I literally made like mixes between white guys, black guys, Mexican guys, and Asian guys. So there's like, if you look at my guard, it's just a mix between different races of people, just like how the real army is. Just a whole bunch of different races all mixed together, and they're all doing one job. But the Marines are a little bit less like that. So for my guys, is that it's usually just like for the Space Marines, it's usually the lighter skin tone or the darker skin tone. So it's pretty much, yeah. Best thing I can say is like the difference between like a white guy and a Mexican kind of like skin tone. So I just go between those two for that. And then after I do that, I like the strong tone. The strong tone does like that nice little red look too. So I do the strong tone from Army Painter. Put that there, get that nice little look. Then I also have a flesh tone that I do on top of that. It gives it that nice little yeah, like they're kind of similar. So I do one or the other depending on how dark the skin is. And then I just go around and just like slightly hit like some parts, like the center of the head or the forehead, just a little bit of a dry brushing right there of that skin tone that I used. It's not that much work, but it looks so nice too. Because like, hey, the guy's going forward and he needs to look like this. Sorry, I just had to blow my nose. But for the sergeants who have the hood on, so I paint the hood and everything, but the face, the face is all painted black, and then the only thing I paint for the face is just like the nose and the mouth, like somewhat of the jaw and the chin. So like the nose, the mouth, and the chin. So just going down there because I'm trying to have that look. It's like the hood is covering the face. Most of the face is in shadow, and some of the face is outside of shadow. So that's what I do. I really like that look. it kind of that mysterious little like kind of like Ravens from the Teen Titans show where half her face is always in shadow. But alrighty then, guys. I am at a location that I'm meeting up with a few people, and I will talk to you all later. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and remember, most importantly of all, always love the Carolina. You all take care now.